Now this is going to be a fun, fact-filled review. Hi guys, how's everyone doing? Recently on my group I did my first ever little poll thing saying which fragrance would you guys like me to review by the end of March. I picked 3 and MITSOUKO was the clear winner. I think you guys are low-key evil because you know that I don't like chypres. There, I said it, alright? This fragrance came out in 1919. Surprising. Not surprising, but when you think about it, it's like, well, that is really long time ago. It was made by Guerlain, who actually was 3rd generation Guerlain perfumers. That just makes it even more crazy. Their company was founded in 1828. So he was 3rd generation perfumer that made this, and it still sells today. What does that tell you about this fragrance? Oh my gosh, it's mind-blowing. Yes, I'm not a fan of chypres, so I think that you guys probably did this to test me, and I did it to test myself. So, hopefully I don't pad out this review with too many fun facts rather than actually reviewing the fragrance, but here we go anyway. MITSOUKO means mystery in Japanese. It comes from a time when Europe was obsessed with Japanese culture, and the perfumer wanted to make something, I guess, that resonated with that. So what a good idea. It was the first ever fruity chypre on the planet, in the perfume industry, in the world. I'm already padding. It's a chypre. For those of you that don't know what a chypre is, I should talk about it first. And you might wonder why I don't ever review them. Chypres is a particular category of fragrance dominated usually by oak moss. It's a note that I personally don't favour. When done correctly, it can be really good, so I have discovered. But yeah, usually it's, you know, it's a moss, so it smells very green, very dry, very fusty, oaky. I always describe it as smelling like old cupboard. But that style of fragrance and that note was favoured in the olden days. The olden days, what am I talking about? In the days gone by. So, yeah, so let's talk about this one. Just first off, I want to say that when I compare this one to some of the more aggressive and fierce kind of chypres, things like Niki Scent Fal or Alliage by Estee Lauder, or think of another one, Tom, Azuri, also by Estee Lauder. Those ones are really on the harsher side of chypres. This one, so I've discovered, isn't. This is a fruity chypre, so it showcases the peach note along with oak moss, so it is really kind of cool actually. So the notes are citruses, jasmine, bergamot and May rose. May rose is really interesting. I learned from my tutor and when I went to Grasse that, I don't say that a lot, do I? My tutor and Grasse. I learned that the May rose is a flower that only grows in Provence, and Guerlain, they own the rights to it. So no other perfumer is allowed to use the May rose. And I do have the essential oil of it. It is really, really rich and powerful. I don't really smell it in this, but I'm just giving you, you know, a fun fact. It's really powerful, and it's really full-bodied and really jammy and really heady as well for a rose, because roses are normally quite delicate. So anyway, just side note. The heart notes are lilac, peach, jasmine, ylang ylang and rose. I'm not sure if that's May rose again twice. They probably used a couple of different types of roses in this. And peach is the kind of main star of the show of this, along with the oak moss. So anyway, base notes are spices, amber, cinnamon and vetiver. So I need to say that I'm not sure. I got my sample such a long time ago. I'm not sure if it's the eau de parfum or the eau de toilette. I'm guessing it's the eau de parfum because it's really, really strong. And it's, you know, it lasts a really long time. I don't even want to go into reformulations with this one, because if I start thinking about how many reformulations this fragrance has had, my head will probably explode. So let's put it on. I've worn it a few times, walking around smelling like a chypre. So what struck me straight away with this one is that, yay, it doesn't smell like musty old cupboard. I can smell oak moss, I can smell what oak moss smells like but it's not got an oak moss character. It isn't a fusty, dusty, dry, old cupboard kind of oak moss chypre that I'm smelling. The peach is giving it such a nice body. It's giving it, I was going to say warmth. It's not giving it a warmth, but it is taking away the rougher side of oak moss. So it does smell very green initially. Chypres will always smell green. That's a fact. Classic chypres will always smell green. Not now, because now you get all kinds of different chypres and the rules get broken and bended, which is fantastic. But this smells like oak moss, but with a fruity, quite fleshy, bright kind of feeling, which is nice. It's kind of surprising to me. I really like it. I can see why people love this fragrance since 1919. Just putting that in there again. It's just amazing, right? The spices in this are understated, but I can feel them. I can feel cinnamon. I can feel some type of other spices, maybe a tiny bit of pepperiness, but they are a perfectly placed underlying smell in this fragrance. Oak moss peach. Oak moss peach, oak moss peach, oak moss peach. Peach has a sometimes woody, dry feeling in it on its own, but this is more of the fleshy fruit type peach as opposed to that side of it. So I'm glad, because if it was the dry peachiness, it would probably enhance the oak moss. I would love to talk to Jacques Guerlain about this fragrance. Really would. Really cool. I feel something when I smell this. I feel an air of olden times. Can you imagine when this was made? Can you imagine them creating a fragrance in 1919 and what was going on outside of the perfumer's place when he was making it, and the carriages, and it does feel, obviously it's vintagey, it feels very throwback. It's a certain type of person, I think, that's going to like this. I don't think, I'm just going to say it out and be really general, but I'm not sure, you know, hordes of 20-year-old women are going to just pick this up and go, oh, I love that, because it's not that, it's much deeper than that, the feeling of this. It's steeped in history and it's legendary. That's the only word I can think of it. It's legendary. I'm padding. Get down to the nitty-gritty. The floral side of it is really interesting as well, because it doesn't jump out at me as much as the peach does, but I can tell there is this pollen-y type thing going on in there. It doesn't smell rosy, but to me it feels generally floral. It's a really hard one to pick apart, and you know, it's so highly regarded that it's quite astounding, but it's, give me a second. It's so expertly blended. I mean, this is the work of just, you know, if you looked at a Van Gogh painting, translate that into a fragrance, and that's what this is. It's something special, and you can just tell immediately that this is the reason why it still sells today. Can you imagine if this is the vintage one? I don't even know, and I'm just putting it on, just high willy-nilly. It feels sometimes like there's an almost buttery powderiness going on in the background, and I'm not sure where that would come from. Powdery probably from the rose, I would say, because rose is a powdery flower anyway in nature. Most of them, some of them are fresh, but mainly that they have a powdery nature to them, and lilac as well a little bit. But yeah, it's a gorgeous green, underlyingly spicy, peachy fragrance with a massive vintage feel. Huge vintage throwback feel, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. I mean, I literally only have a tiny bit of this, and I've been putting tiny swipes on me for the last couple of days, and I can smell it. It always wafts. It always wafts. It's always there. It's noticeable, and I just imagine really rich people wearing it. I don't know why. It has that feeling. So I hope I did this review justice. It was a tough one, but you guys chose it, so I did it for you. I'll do another poll soon on my Ouch on My Nose Smelly group thing. I'm thinking about actually just giving you guys a link to my entire sample wardrobe and then letting you pick. Those of you guys that aren't on the Facebook group, sorry! Yeah, that's all I can say. If you guys want to get this fragrance, head on over to natino.co.uk or .com. I will post links below. Get something legendary. I think I might get it myself. Seriously. MITSOUKO, you have turned me. I am now a chypre lover. Nah, wouldn't go that far. Anyway, go to Natino and see if you want to get it. Alright, bye. And much on my logo, click my logo down there to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon for another review. Goodbye.